There's a strange kind of silence that settles in when your phone stops ringing. At first, it's peaceful, a little slice of calm in a noisy world. No more robocalls or distant cousins asking for money. But then, one day, you realize something's missing. The names in your contacts, especially the ones you gave birth to, start to feel more like ghosts than people. If you're over 60 and your kids seem to have dropped off the face of the earth, take a breath. You're not the only one wondering why the people you raised now act like you're some forgotten sitcom rerun. And no, it's not always because you did something wrong. Sometimes life just drifts. Maybe it started with fewer visits, then fewer texts. Now, even the family WhatsApp group is just your niece sharing memes from 2016. And there you are, typing hello once every 3 weeks like a stranded castaway sending smoke signals. Now, before we grab a magnifying glass and go full detective mode trying to solve the mystery of the disappearing children, let's get one thing clear. Staying calm is your superpower. You raised tiny humans through tantrums, fevers, puberty, and that one year they insisted on eating only chicken nuggets. You've got resilience built into your DNA. So no, now is not the time to spiral. Here's the truth most people don't want to say out loud. Adult children get busy, distracted, and sometimes downright self-centered. Not maliciously, just messily. They juggle jobs, bills, relationships, and somewhere in the chaos, mom and dad start to fade into the background like wallpaper. Familiar, comforting, but unnoticed. Now that doesn't mean you sit quietly like a stoic monk, hoping they eventually remember you exist. It means you shift your energy into something far more powerful: control. Not over them, but over you. Step 1. Stop blaming yourself. Seriously. Put down the emotional magnifying glass. Replaying every moment from their teenage years or wondering if that one argument about the dog 20 years ago caused this. Stop it. Unless you were hiding deep secrets like a second family or secretly replacing their Halloween candy with raisins, you're probably not the villain here. Step 2. Do not beg for their attention. I repeat, do not. There's nothing more unattractive than a parent guilt texting their grown kids with, "Guess I'm just a burden now," or "Remember me?" That's not a guilt trip. That's a round trip to emotional burnout. Instead, take a page from the ancient art of subtle power, the kind of energy where you know your worth and you don't need applause to confirm it. You know who does this best? Cats. Yes, cats. When they want attention, they don't meow all day. They just strut across the table and sit on your laptop. Quiet, confident, present. Your version of that? Live well, flourish, make your life interesting. Join a class, learn the guitar. Post about your pottery on Facebook. Not for the kids, for you. But let's be honest, nothing gets an adult child's attention faster than seeing mom posting vacation photos with people named Gerald and Pat from her new salsa class. And while we're here, let's talk about the guilt trap. It's easy to say, but I gave up so much for them. And you probably did. You sacrificed, hustled, cooked, cleaned, worried, and cheered. But love given freely is not a debt to be repaid. It's a gift. And if they've forgotten the gift, that says more about them than it does about you. That said, you can still gently hold up a mirror, not to accuse, but to remind. Try this. Next time you actually get a rare phone call or text, instead of diving straight into complaints or silence, say something simple like, "I really enjoy hearing from you. It means a lot." That's it. That's the message. No guilt, no drama, just truth. Now here's a plot twist you didn't expect. Maybe your kids think you're the one who's pulling away. Yep. Miscommunication isn't just for teenagers. Maybe they think you're busy. Maybe they think you want space. Or maybe they're just scared you'll lecture them about their life choices, their wardrobe, or their questionable partner named Skylar, who thinks astrology is a career path. This is where emotional honesty comes in. If there's something real between you, something unresolved or painful, it's never too late to bring it into the light. But timing and tone are everything. Don't launch into a tearful monologue the next time they accidentally butt dial you. Wait for a real moment. Then speak from the heart, not the heat. And speaking of heat, let's cool something down. Comparison. Stop comparing your relationship with your children to your friends' highlight reels. Just because Brenda's son takes her to brunch every Sunday and buys her foot massagers doesn't mean he's a better kid. Maybe Brenda's been holding on to a secret carrot cake recipe as leverage. You don't know. More importantly, your story is your own, and it's still being written. You're not in the epilogue yet. You're in a new chapter, and that chapter might just surprise you. You might discover new circles, new people, new ways to be seen and valued that have nothing to do with biology or bloodlines. A good conversation with a neighbor, a shared laugh with someone from your morning yoga class. These moments matter. They're not less than. They're just different. Don't underestimate the power of being surrounded by people who choose to be in your life. Sometimes, that can feel even more meaningful than family that shows up out of duty. And if none of this feels satisfying yet, let's add one more tool to your belt: humor. Because if you can laugh, even a little, you've already won. When your kid finally calls after 6 months and opens with, "Hey, sorry, I've just been swamped," you have every right to say, "Wow, 6 months? That must be some swamp. You need a canoe?" Not to shame, just to remind them you still know how to jab with love. Now let's say you've done everything right. You've stayed calm. You've been patient. You've even managed to laugh about it with your neighbor Linda over coffee, while she brags that her daughter calls twice a day and still asks for soup recipes. You smile politely, even though inside you're wondering if Linda's daughter is secretly under house arrest. So what now? Do you just accept the silence? Not quite. See, there's a difference between acceptance and surrender. Acceptance says, "This is where we are." Surrender says, "This is how it has to stay." And we're not doing the second one. Not yet. You still have agency, you still have voice, but more importantly, you still have dignity. And one of the most dignified things you can do is shift the story. Maybe this isn't the chapter where they come around. Maybe this is the chapter where you come around to yourself. That's right. Sometimes the story isn't about reunion. Sometimes it's about reinvention. Think about it. When you were raising your kids, your identity revolved around them, their needs, their wins, their heartbreaks. You were the fixer, the planner, the emergency contact. But now you get to be the main character again. The spotlight is yours. Use it. Dust off those dreams you shelved. Start the garden. Write the memoir. Volunteer at that place you always said you would if you had more time. Because you do have time. And more than that, you have perspective. And let me tell you, perspective is more valuable than youth. And as you start to rebuild this life, brick by brick, don't be surprised if your children slowly peek back in. Why? Because people are drawn to light. Not begging, not pleading, but light. When you become interesting to yourself again, others will start to notice. Now let's pivot for a second to the people who are really hurting, the ones who raised their kids with love, effort, and stability, and yet still got pushed out. No drama, no reason, just quiet, slow distance that turned into a canyon. If that's you, hear this. Their choices are not a reflection of your value. Sometimes, adult children carry wounds you didn't cause and can't fix. Sometimes they need space they can't explain. And yes, sometimes they're just selfish. That's their journey, not your punishment. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to grieve. It's even okay to be mad. But don't let those feelings turn into bitterness. Bitterness doesn't protect you. It just builds walls so high that no one can climb in, even the people who might try. Instead, focus on creating what I call second family. Not in the soap opera sense, I mean chosen family. People who love and respect you for who you are now, not just who you used to be to someone else. Sometimes it's a friend, a neighbor, a fellow church member, or even someone you meet during a community pottery class named Phyllis, who curses like a sailor and makes the best banana bread you've ever had. That kind of connection? It heals things your kids may never understand. And hey, while we're on this honest streak, let's talk boundaries. Yes, even at 60 or 70, boundaries still matter. If your kids only call when they want something, or worse, if they only show up to criticize your choices, your home, or your political opinions, it's okay to limit that access. You're not a doormat with Wi-Fi. You're a whole person, and your peace matters. Setting boundaries isn't about punishment. It's about protection. Protecting your heart, your health, your time. If a conversation always leaves you feeling small, pause that conversation. If a visit always ends in tension, shorten the visit. You're allowed. Now I know what some of you might be thinking. But what if they never come around? Well, here's the unfiltered truth. They might not. And that's painful. But here's another truth that might just save you. You don't need their permission to be joyful. You've lived through decades, wars, recessions, relationships, bad perms. You've earned your joy. Don't let it hinge on someone else's behavior. You get to dance in your kitchen. You get to laugh at silly shows. You get to plan vacations with people who actually want to spend time with you. You get to reinvent yourself. And maybe, just maybe, this version of your life becomes better than the one you were waiting on. Because here's the beautiful twist no one talks about. When you stop waiting for your children to show up, you start showing up for yourself. Fully, fiercely, unapologetically. And sometimes, when the stars align and the casserole's hot, your kids do come back. Not because you begged, but because they finally saw you again. The real you. The one who's not stuck in their rearview mirror. The one who's thriving in the now. And if that day comes, welcome it. With open arms, if your heart says so, or cautious steps, if it needs protection. But don't carry bitterness into that moment. Carry wisdom. Carry humor. Carry the lessons you've learned along the way. Now, if you've made it this far, you deserve to hear this. You are not invisible. You are not forgotten. You are not too late. Your presence matters. And anyone who can't see that? Well, they're the ones missing out. So here's your assignment. Yes, I'm giving you homework. Today, do one thing just for you, not for your kids, not for the memory of how things used to be, for you. Bake the cookies, book the trip, rewatch your favorite old film with a glass of wine and no interruptions. And when you do it, smile. Not because everything's perfect, but because you're still here. Still you. Still worth calling. Still worth loving. Still worth everything. And if your kids do call tomorrow, don't answer with a sigh. Don't start with guilt. Just say, "Hi there. I've missed you. How have you been?" Let the healing begin without the script. And who knows? Maybe next Sunday, It's your kitchen that smells like banana bread and laughter again. But if not, well, you've still got Phyllis. And frankly, her banana bread is legendary. Now, if this message hit home and made you laugh, cry, or maybe both, go ahead and tap that subscribe button. It helps us keep sharing more real talk like this. And tell us in the comments, where are you watching from? And what would you say if your kid finally called today?